Once upon a time, you had an opportunity to three-peat. It didn't quite work out that way. Do you see it working out this time for the Kansas City Chiefs?
And it's so funny because I say you brought pain because I think about that every day. And the reason I've been on this Chiefs to three-peat wagon is it's the first time I saw Travis Kelce last offseason. This offseason, that's the first thing he brought up. So it was on his mind then. And it's all the thing he said, Michael, just you guys were there. What can I do to make sure that we complete the task and complete it? And I said, oh, what you're doing right now, you're focused on it right now because it's going to be a tough path. And we've seen that path. We've seen these close games, and we try to find something wrong with Kansas City Chiefs instead of finding that these guys, whoever their play is, going to give them their best game that they've ever played because they're on their way to a three-peat. But I got all the confidence in the world. As long as you can keep on offense, Patrick Mahomes, you keep that guy upright. Patrick Mahomes on offense and Chris Jones on defense. And we know right now, you know, he's injured. That's going to be the key.
Wasn't
right
nothing
there.
wrong with Patrick Mahomes, man.
Yeah. Pat, there was a little
know that, right? He was selling it. Man, he was selling it the other day. He sold it to everybody. You can tell based on when he pulled the ball down and scrambled for the touchdown. Come on, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that ankle. What you mean?
That ankle, ain't
nothing wrong with it. Wasn't nothing wrong with it in practice. That's why I came Thursday, he was practicing. Wednesday, he was practicing. You can see when he dropped back and plant that foot. Our first thing I said the other day, I was like, oh, he good.
The great ones know how to play through the pain like I did. Like when my knee, when I went out with the wheelchair, I know how to play. I came back.
Did you really just try to sell that?
And I played through the pain.
Wasn't nothing wrong with you.
Look at Paul.
They're lying, man. Wasn't nothing wrong with Paul.
I came back and I played through the pain.
The great ones know how to play through the pain.
But it does set a tone, Paul. That sets a tone.
No, it probably did set a tone for him. But he couldn't run it back the following year. He couldn't do that again.
Right.
Because then we would have, you know what I'm saying, the second time around, you wasn't able to do it. Look, I don't expect them to win it. I just don't. It hasn't been done. I think New England might have had an opportunity a couple times. Obviously, you guys, Denver with John Elway and them but John retired after the second Super Bowl. He had retired, but they could have done it. Didn't work out that way. It's just hard, man. I do believe they'll go to the AFC Championship game. And I do believe that they'll probably, depending on how the seedings turn out, they'll probably wind up seeing the Baltimore Ravens. And I think Lamar finally gets revenge in Kansas City, gets over the hump, takes Baltimore to the Super Bowl. It's hard, Michael. You know.
Man.
You know it's hard. You've been there.
You think if they get, because you're saying they're going to lose in the AFC Championship game, that's at Arrowhead.
I understand.
So you think a team come in, Buffalo come in and beat?
No, I think Baltimore.
Baltimore.
I think Baltimore. Baltimore had them on the ropes first game of the season.
Correct.
I mean, you know, it was a toe. That's all it was. It was a little bit of toe on the line.
They're in Baltimore's head.
I understand. I understand that. But so was Pittsburgh just on Sunday or Saturday. What day did they play? Sunday? Yeah, Sunday.
This ain't Pat. That's not Pat Mahomes.
I understand that.
This is a whole nother mountain you looking to climb.
I get all that.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
So, like, originally, like, when I watched the Chiefs all year long struggle offensively and come back and win at the end, I'm like, you know, it's just something, but they don't got it. They don't got it.
I can't count them out,
Right, but I'm just saying. And I was like, no way they're going to repeat. I'm looking at Buffalo. I'm looking at the Ravens. You know, and I'm looking at Pittsburgh. I'm like, oh, one of these teams can get them. But the more and more I look now, it's becoming more and more clear that this team, Key, do you know they've won 20 of the last 21 games dating back to last season?
No, look,
20 of 21 games.
What I'm saying.
I don't want to count. I don't want to count Patrick Mahomes out.
They're getting healthy.
I understand.
Starting to get healthy.
I'm not trying to count him out.
At the right time.
It's just hard to do.
I understand that. But, like, we've seen, this is different. This is like, if Patrick said, I'm going to hang it up today, he probably would be considered the second greatest quarterback.
Correct.
All time.
And now, boy, you put some icing on the cake right now. And
if you hang it up today.
You're putting some icing on the cake. And that's why, and Paul just said something, that's why.
Right, that's why he can do it.
And when they said, how's your ankle? He said, fine.
Right.
Ankle's fine, I'm playing. Because if he does complete this three-peat,
boy,
that's
That's gonna kick him. He gonna get it.
I mean,
we gonna have some uncomfortable conversations.
You climbing and ripping right on Tom Brady's back. He's clawing right in Tom Brady's back, climbing on. If you do this three-peat, and I'm telling you, when you see a quarterback like this, that determined, he's hurt, makes all the money in the world. He has no reason to risk everything.
And another thing.
And he's out here playing like that. You got to follow that.
One more thing. Since we put respect on the Kansas City Chiefs on your big list, finally, Key.
Finally. Paul Wright, finally.
It's time to put Patty Mahomes back in the MVP conversations now. Because if we gave Lamar the MVP last year because of his record, more so than his statistics, right? It's time, if the Chiefs end up 16-1.
They're going to end up 16-1.
Okay. I love what Josh Allen's done this year, but the more and more I think about it, it may need to go to Pat Mahomes.
It may.
The more and more I think about it, because everybody talking about Saquon, and everybody talking about Lamar. Look at his stats. 16-1 with injuries all year long, holding the team together with a piece of tape. Holding this team together, scratching and clawing, winning every week. It ain't looking pretty, but it's getting it done. And you got to put him back up there.
And we talk about it so many times when a guy's playing well. He's managing the game. This is so far away from
managing the game. That's so far from it. It's not even close.
What he does is so far from just managing the game. He absolutely manages the game.
Oh, he's a ridiculous quarterback.
No matter who you have, he raises them up. That's the whole difference. No matter who you play with, he raises them up. He's just the best, man. I'm telling you.
No, he really is. Pinpoint accuracy. I mean, but it's just hard. You're talking about 3 Super Bowl titles. Now, look, if they got to the AFC Championship game,
I don't think they would lose that.
I don't think they
at home. Freezing cold.
You got to beat
that home field advantage is
you got to beat them before that.
I mean, it ain't really nothing in the AFC because all the top teams playing cold weather.
No, I understand, but it's the crowd though. It's the noise.
It's the crowd. It's the familiarity with the field.
I just feel like if there's anybody else other than Baltimore that goes back into KC, they go to the Super Bowl. I just believe that Baltimore and Lamar, if they can get to the AFC Championship game, it's something about him being able to erase all of that I can't. He went into the Pittsburgh Steelers game, I can't. Right? All of those sort of things we would be talking about if he was to see Kansas City again. Same thing.
Baltimore, quiet as kept, is not a cold weather city like the rest of these teams.
I understand, but when you talk about...
So they got to go to Kansas City, Keith.
When you talk about the narrative in the postseason, if they seen the Bills, the first thing we're going to start saying is, well, they always beat them in the regular season. They can't beat them in the postseason. Josh Allen always magically figures out how to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season, but guess what? It's the postseason now. So that's the only reason why I think if, in fact, they see Baltimore, they can get derailed. I just feel like Baltimore
don't have a blueprint to beat them.
They haven't had a blueprint.
They haven't had a blueprint.
Where they see blue.
Now, if you had to talk about a team like Cincinnati who had a blueprint.
Cincinnati they not.
Yeah, but they're not making the playoffs. But, like, there's no other team that have a blueprint for being them in the playoffs
and you
in Kansas City.
put them in an AFC Championship game, they're going to feel the Tiger Woods effect. You know how Tiger Woods, when he would be coming up from behind and everybody just starts spraying the ball all over the golf course. Getting scared.
And then I guess...
And Patrick Mahomes, and make coaches make bad decisions.
And yeah, that's true. And then we're talking about the championship game, the AFC and all of those sort of things. To win a Super Bowl, you play against the NFC, right? Can they beat Detroit? Can they beat Philadelphia?
Yes.
Can they beat
the Vikings?
The Vikings or Green Bay or any of those teams that could potentially come out of the NFC if you see them, Michael? That's the question more so than anything if they come out of the NFC.
Right. And my comfort there, just quick, is Philly and Detroit, honestly. Not so much the Vikings to beating these guys, because I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to run the ball and keep the ball out of his hands to win that game. Vikings, you're not going to just out-throw Patrick Mahomes.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.